Events, schedules, rosters, and game day pictures. See legendary teams, football fanatic families, and a lot more. Look for the Golden Football. Win $500 for your school. $500 for your school. Purchase a copy from your school booster clubs. All proceeds go to schools. City School Magazine. High School Football Collector's Edition. Don't miss it. Help support your school.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell. You're listening to Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. The Drive is coming up. The ESPN Cleveland 101.3 lineup is supplied by Wholesale Supply Group. WholesaleSupply.us.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. I am Andy Morris along with Jim Gum, Jacob Mason. Excited to be with you guys on this somewhat rainy, little bit of precipitation out there, as long as it gets out of the way before tomorrow and Friday. But a little bit rainy Wednesday.
A little bit. I don't know where you were just at, but where I was at, it was a lot of it.
I literally just walked in the station about 15 minutes ago, and it was not raining.
Yeah, it's not anymore.
Jacob.
But man, when school got out, the heavens seemed like they were falling from the sky.
Well, they say that around here, it was a gully washer. Yeah, I mean, it was. It came down. Wind picked up really, really hard, and then the rain came right behind it. But like I said, it was hard, but it didn't last a long time, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah, excited today because we are going to have another coaching guest on the show. This one was a little impromptu, got it worked out. McMinn County head football coach Bo Cagle is going to join the show at around 5:45 to talk about that Black Friday matchup between his Cherokees and, of course, the Bradley Central Bears.
Bo knows, right?
He does. He's probably heard that his whole life.
I guarantee
and he has probably loved every second of it, because I can say this. If anyone ever alluded to me with someone like Bo Jackson, like I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
Now, Bo Cagle's been at McMinn for 19 years, just one less than what Floyd has had at Bradley. So, yeah, it's great to see those two. And you can tell they know each other so well. I mean, how many battles? I guess they've never missed a season of
every
playing
single
each other.
year.
So they've had some great battles over the years. And say what you want about McMinn, they're always good at the line of scrimmage. They don't always have the greatest skill guys, but, man, they are tough in the trenches. So Bradley's going to have their hands full.
They've definitely got the big boys up front this year. A lot of that offensive line returning. And also on top of that, they've got a receiving room with some athletes.
Yeah, they've got some athletes now. But like I said, you can always count on McMinn having the big boys up front on offense and defense. So Bradley's going to have to come and play well. And, we know that he only had one scrimmage this year. We're talking about Bradley.
Yeah, Coach Floyd and the Bears.
And that's tough because, man, you really want to have 2-3 scrimmages to kind of figure out what your team's like. But you can only evaluate your team so much against your own guys.
One thing that I know about Coach Floyd, though, having missed those 2 scrimmages, I can promise you he's had ones versus ones going quite a bit, kind of doing some game simulation leading into this week. The problem with that, though, there's not 2 A.J. Westfields. You can't put him on both sides of the ball to play against himself. And that's a guy who's absolutely got the ability and probably going to do that a lot for Bradley this year.
And when you play against each other, you learn each other's tendencies on offense and defense. And like you said, a lot of these guys play both ways. But so if I'm on defense and I'm going against you every day, I'm going to know a little bit more about you, and you're going to know a little bit more about me when you go up against a true opponent that you don't see every day. Now you can really see, hey, he is getting that separation.
Yeah, with different looks.
I know your moves. Yeah, and so that's the one thing that you miss when you don't play the scrimmages.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You talked about the big boys up front. I've got McMinn's roster in front of us. You got your right tackle, 6'2", 250. The right guard, 6'4", 330 pounds. I'm pretty sure if it's the one that I'm thinking of, his name's Camden Goforth. There's been some people coming to look at him and play to play at the next level. Your center is 6 foot 299. Your left guard, 6'1", 245. Left tackle, 6'2", 240. So got some pretty big boys up front. But I think about the defensive line with A.J. Westfield, and then the guard and the center.
There'll be some matchups
for McMinn. I mean, I'll be honest. If you're A.J. and you're Bradley, you're probably thinking I'm putting him wherever Goforth is not. I'm going to put him on the side that he is not there to try to win that matchup, because A.J. D1 level talent. Looks like this guy, he has the metrics of a D1 level guy. I can't wait to ask Coach Cagle about him. But, man, I start in the trenches. To me, that's where championships are won. That's where, it all has to be going good. And so both of these teams have what seem to be really good offensive lines and defensive lines.
Yeah, so once again at 5:45, roughly, head coach of the McMinn County Cherokees, Bo Cagle, will be joining the show. Once again, all high school football coverage here on The Drive presented by Food City. And got to see Food City on this morning, represented all the coaches, and also Principal Pritchard from Cleveland High School came in the building. And very, very good mixed morning show with all that going on with what Food City does for local athletics, specifically high school football.
Yeah, we had two of the managers of the Food City stores. The one that's closest to us, just right down the street here, and then the one on the other side of town. Those two gentlemen were here, and you can tell that. What I think is so cool is they love being involved in high school sports, and around here, that's such a big thing, and it's so important. You know that. You got to have the entire community has to support these programs. They just have to, because if they don't, then we're going to fall way, way, way behind. That's just the fact in here in the state of Tennessee, because we don't have all the tax money going to our athletic facilities that some other states do.
Georgia.
So we rely on a lot of private donations, and Food City just steps up big time.
Yeah, we're going to cover a lot of high school football in the later part of the show. Real quick, we're going to transition as we get this thing opened up. Really excited to talk a little bit of college football for a second. First of all, Lane Kiffin. I don't know how many of our listeners, Jim, I believe you're somewhat active on the app known as X, formerly known as Twitter, correct?
Yes, I am.
And I know Jacob, this guy, I can't keep up with him on X. He's so active.
I blow his phone up in the middle of the night. It's a bad habit of mine.
He sure does. But listen, I do want to say this. Lane Kiffin is keeping us all entertained, because talk about being able to manage that app with a purpose. He gets some of the best interactions and has some of the it can be like 2 or 3 word statements, and it's just so funny. So he actually posted a photo, and that Tennessee fans get ready to get riled up a little bit.
Here we go.
He posted a photo, and it says, Georgia State opened the 2019 season on the road versus the SEC. Georgia State defeated the Tennessee Volunteers 38-30. And it's an image of the score and the box score and everything. And just knowing who Lane Kiffin is anyway, he was pretty much just saying, like, hey, you got to look out. He wasn't.
Don't look over these passes.
Yes,
don't pass these guys.
He wasn't trying to necessarily throw shade at Tennessee while throwing shade at Tennessee. And one of the first replies was, this was uncalled for, Lane. And it was from a Tennessee fan, which is just so funny to me.
Well, and here's the thing. We all know that Tennessee fans they're already sour with Lane. You know, some would say that.
I don't know that they all are. At one point, everybody hated him.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think he's kind of won a few back over.
Maybe, but I mean, enough for there to be golf balls and mustard bottles and stuff thrown towards his direction. Not saying that they were aiming towards him, but just because of his history with the university, for him to tweet that out, that's gonna dig at some Tennessee fans.
This is the caption that he tweeted along with that image. He said, "We need the vote loud." That's what they referred to their stadium, and he put
Vaught. The Vaught.
The Vaught. Okay.
Vaught Hemingway Stadium.
The Vaught loud. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Vaught Hemingway.
We need the Vaught loud, and it says at Ole Miss. So it's tagged the Ole Miss football account, and he said this was at Vol football and tagged Tennessee's account. So he was throwing a little shade while not trying to at the same time.
I'll never forget this, guys. I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I'd gone to an Ohio State game that day. I get back to the hotel, and I flipped it on, and I'm like, what? Georgia State's leading Tennessee? Me and my brother and my wife, we watched the end of that game. We couldn't believe what we were watching before our eyes. And I thought I had attended the biggest upset in Tennessee history. 1975. Y'all going to love this. First Tennessee game I ever went to, North Texas State. Hayden Fry was the head coach. He went on to Iowa later on. He took North Texas State. It was North Texas State back then, and he beats Tennessee 21-14. I was like, oh, my gosh. And for years I said, that's the biggest upset. Georgia State beating Tennessee was bigger than that.
North Texas, as a matter of fact, the inspiration for the hit movie Necessary Roughness, correct?
I think you may be right there.
They played a spin off of that a little bit. They were the Mean Green, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. But I think the Georgia State win over Tennessee was bigger than the North Texas State win. And what's ironic is the very next week, Tennessee lost to BYU. So they opened up that season. And
the Storm and Mormons.
I mean, listen, you're sitting there going, this Tennessee team just they don't have the players. You could just tell. It's totally different these days.
You know why they signed that Adidas deal?
For that $20 million check?
Yeah, but they had to make some money back off that 1.6 they had to write for Georgia State to come up and and beat them. To me, that's the worst part about all that. You pay these smaller universities to kind of come in, you get a guaranteed win, the revenue's great, and you write them a check. But when it's hard to write that check
when it backfires.
Yeah. Well, listen. So speaking of that backfiring, everyone's aware. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. So to kind of play off your experience up there at Neyland Stadium, I went up to Neyland Stadium this past year for a Morgan Wallen concert, wearing my Braves. We've talked about this on the show as well, so a little repetitive here. But I had my Braves jersey on in honor of the hit song 98 Braves. But I forgot I had the hat I'm wearing right now. I had on it. I had it on backwards. Yeah. And it's a Notre Dame hat, but it's a golf hat. It's a casual Notre Dame hat. It's not like in your face. Well, the guy sitting behind me, big time Vol fans. And him and his family were friendly people. No, I don't have much of a problem. But first thing that said to me when my butt hits the seat was, how about that Northern Illinois game? And my response was, yeah, it was a tough one, man. It really was. And I turn around a few minutes later. Yeah, I don't know if it's too good of a time to be a Notre Dame fan right now, which, by the way, we made it to the college football national championship game, college football playoffs. But so after two or three things that were said, I turned around. I said, yeah, that Northern Illinois game really was tough. It reminded me a lot of the Georgia State game here in Neyland Stadium a couple of years ago.
Oh, God.
And it was the last thing that he said to me after that. It was kind of like, okay, this guy knows ball a little bit. So, but it was he was a nice guy. Yeah. But we're getting all the Vol fans fired up a little bit. So I want to transition to I want to build you back up right now, Tennessee fans. Big Orange Country. Get ready for your starting quarterback, Joey Aguilar, because he spoke to the press today, and I was very, very impressed with what he had to say, hearing his story, who he is. You guys have yourselves a gamer. Real quick, we got a clip.
I grew up working for everything that I got. My dad always told me to be grateful and to be humble, so mom as well. So coming in here, trust takes time to build. You can't force somebody to trust you. And so, I'm just nonchalant kind of guy, so I'm not trying to come in here and tell everybody like, yeah, you got to trust me, I'm your guy. So I just slowly connect with people here and there, go grab some food, hang out, just have a conversation with everybody, not even just like a main guy. I would say, like, you got to build trust with every single person on your team, whether they play or not.
Right. Just hearing what he's saying, you can tell it's very genuine. He spoke of a tattoo that he has on his ribs. Brought that up. It's actually Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. And for those of you, I don't want to butcher this, but basically it's trusting God with your whole heart, not relying on your own understanding, and acknowledge God in all your ways. And he talked about how he leans on that, his relationship with the Lord, how he leans on his parents for the foundation that they built for him. That's the kind of individual you want leading your team. I mean, he was very impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive. I did not know that about him, and that makes me think a little bit more highly of him. And I shouldn't say that because they're young kids, okay? We all know that. But this is in the world of the NIL. I'm a little tougher on the athletes today than I ever was before because when
they're employees.
When they were true student athletes, and I know there was always some things going on behind the scenes, but I was always like, nah, you can't boo these guys. They're just, they're student athletes. They're not getting paid, blah, blah, blah. But, man, I'm glad you brought that to my attention because I think a lot more highly of guys like that wear their faith openly than I did before. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
To take a line out of Varsity Blues real quick, they's just kids.
It's just kids.
Well, seriously though, like in the grand scheme of things, you want guys like that leading your team. You don't want guys that are chasing dollar signs, that are trying to get more, that are sitting out of practice, that are now at UCLA. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like you don't want that kind of culture for your football program because at the end of the day, it starts to affect it over time. And so you've got a guy in the building who's dedicated, who honestly, in my opinion, really could be an absolute baller this year. Like he makes me, as a Georgia fan, he makes me nervous. He is going to attack our DBs. He's going to let it fly, and he's going to put pressure on us. And so if you're a Vols fan, you should be sitting here saying like, okay, all that drama did happen this offseason. It was annoying, but we've got a guy in the building who wants to be a Vol, who wants to represent our university, and is ready to go work and put his life on the line for his team.
He was asked specifically about his path to UT, and he took it back as far to his playing days in junior college. He said there was a point in time where he's playing junior college football, looking at the D1 guys and looking at the SEC program saying, man, I wish that was me. I wish I was there. That's what I want to be. Also, by the way, he was prepared after JUCO to go straight in and be a firefighter. He was ready to start his career. Something else that I thought was very commendable and impressive. But he said that what he did throughout that whole process from junior college to transferring and going to App State, going to UCLA, and then ultimately landing at Tennessee, he said, I never worried. I constantly leaned on the Lord and his plans for me. I thought that was such a powerful statement for him to say that. And one thing that he said he's most excited about, he said he's never been to a Tennessee game before, but he's watched plenty. He's excited to run through the tee.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can't force guys to make friends on the team with different people. But, boy, wouldn't it be good for Boo Carter to hang around him and have some of that stuff rub off on him? You know what I'm saying?
He's a guy that could be catching some passes from this guy.
Sometimes the influences from your own team can have a positive or a negative effect. And, having Aguilar, like you just said, and all the stuff you just mentioned, sometimes guys that may not be thinking the same way, if you hang around guys like that, some of that stuff will rub off. Now, like I said, you can't force guys to be friends, but I'm just sitting here that was the first guy I thought of when you said that. I said, boy, wouldn't it be nice for Boo Carter to have that mentality?
Yeah. And sometimes it takes an outsider to come into a program to change the culture.
Right.
And in other news, charges dismissed against Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazzell for his driving incidents he's had. So that's good news.
If he's at the University of Georgia, there would have been like 4 instances. So, hey, good for you.
I can't stop laughing. Sorry.
Uber. If Uber is listening, please sponsor the University of Georgia. We'll put your logo on our jerseys, and we'll make
Or
sure.
Lyft.
Yeah,
Lyft or Uber. Let them fight over it.
We'll make sure that we drive safe.
I got to be honest here. I thought Jacob would have got a little bit more entertainment out of me transitioning from a guy changing the culture to a guy who had charges
Yeah.
against him. He was just shaking his head, but because he's dealt with so much, it's kind of a soft spot for Georgia Bulldog fans.
What can I say? What can I sit here? What can I, as a Georgia fan, sit here and comment on that? I can't say anything.
Yeah,
So
can't throw rocks in a glass house,
That's
can
right.
you?
No.
That's right.
But hey, also Tennessee Volunteers fans, be excited about Jermod McCoy, big-time defensive back, was named to the AP preseason All-American team.
Yep. He was announced that, and listen, he's the real deal. We know that I think he's clearly the best player on that roster. I don't think anyone would question that. Well, some people might, but I think he is a legit first-round NFL draft pick, assuming that he plays up to his abilities and he doesn't get hurt. Obviously, he's got all the tools that you want. So the thing about that, when you got a guy like that, it's not like it closes that side of the field, but it makes your quarterback less. The tendencies are going to be thrown away from him, so that narrows the other side of the field. So that's always good for the defense, for sure, when you have a guy like that.
So just to transition out of Tennessee Volunteer football for a second, I do have some bad news. You guys know how passionate I am about this topic specifically.
Are we about to have a crash out on the drive?
But I'm not quite there with this. It's a sad moment more than anything. But Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham, season cut short, MCL tear. Good news for me though, that's more time she can dedicate towards her podcast.
God Almighty!
Oh man,
Andy, you are a sick man.
I don't know. Sick is the right term there, Jim.
Stalker? Is that the right term?
It's not that bad.
Okay.
no, it's
I'm kidding with you.
It's
man.
not that bad.
no, but
Pretty bad,
I
folks.
hate that. I hate that for her and for.
She's a heck of a ball player.
I hate that for her and Caitlin though. Honestly, like that's your defender.
And
But
Caitlin, she's getting ready to come back, is she not?
Yeah. You could see. I bet you Sophie's probably still going to be on the bench, and like if something happens and the clears, she's going to be out there. She's going to be involved. She may be suspended even when she's not able
She may
to
be
play.
saying, she may be writing down stuff. She goes, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
I'll be back next year. I'm taking notes. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Man, did you guys hear about what the Yankees did last night?
9 bombs.
9 home run game against the Tampa Bay Rays, tying a club record in their 13-3 win.
What, didn't they hit 9 earlier this year?
What was it this year?
Yeah, they hit
Wow.
9. Remember, that was the torpedo bat controversy when they hit
yeah.
those 9.
Wow.
And that was
Early.
the torpedo bat stuff. And everyone says it was the bats. It's the bats. Well, the torpedo
You're
bat's
right.
been around for a long time. But
They weren't even in Yankee Stadium. And because I've always kind of had an issue with that short right field wall there in Yankee Stadium. I mean, it's like a Little League field, ultimately. So a lot of balls fly out right there. They weren't at home for this. So they legit blasted 9 ding-dong ditches.
Yeah. Say that fast for 5 times in a
I shouldn't
row.
have went there. I did it.
Have
though.
you heard about like what the Cubs are dealing with the stands in the outfield?
No.
So like the apartments that that sell the seats up top. So for the fans that don't know, the park was built in the neighborhood, and so some of these apartments back in the day started selling tickets and things to go to the games on top of the roof. Well, the Cubs have tried to buy them forever and do all these things. They own all of them except one now. The reason why they wanted to buy them though is they wanted to be able to add advertisements, and so they're adding Coca-Cola to the advertisements. But one of the major things that scares them in the controversy is what is stopping that one final apartment to put a Pepsi logo up beside it. And then that kills the value of what this is being paid for. Pepsi could come in and go to that owner and say, we will give you a ridiculous amount of money to make this logo that much bigger than Coke's right next to it. And so the Cubs are kind of in this limbo land where they've been trying to get this one last owner to sell, but he's refusing to do so. And, if you're going to put advertisements up, there's a risk with that, with you not owning that one piece of property.
Have y'all ever seen the configuration of old Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C.? Okay, there's a story behind it. There was like a house that was right there, and they had to build a gigantic wall around it because that owner refused to sell to the owners of the Washington Senators back then. And so if you look at the old configuration of Griffith Stadium, it was because that one guy would not sell. And he said, "No, I own this land, and you're not going to get it." So they had to build all these bleachers on either side of his house and his big wall and everything. That's kind of what it reminded me of when you said that.
Same with the Masters. There's a house at the Masters that refuses to sell. They've offered them.
I've heard that story.
They've offered them tons and tons of money.
Good for them, though.
Yeah.
Hold your ground. Hey, listen.
I'd be selling, man. I'd be, yeah, give me the money.
Real quick before we go to our first break, NASCAR announces the 2026 schedule. Chicagoland is back. It sounds like, listen, I was listening to Finish Line Radio the other day, and they were talking about Chicagoland's going to need a lot of work, and there's going to be a lot of money that needs to be poured into it to get it ready to go again. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. They eliminated, obviously, the Mexico City race that took place this past season, this current season, if you will.
I don't know that one got a fair shake because of the weather. Mm-hmm. It rained, and it just wasn't like as popular, but they are doing a really cool one. They're going to do a race on an Army base,
which
San
is
Diego,
great.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything promoting the military, I'm all for it, and celebrating our service members. So what a great experience for them to be able to have out there with some NASCAR. All your NASCAR information and coverage right after our show, Finish Line Radio, coming up at 6 o'clock. Be sure to tune in for that, all you NASCAR fans. With that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, talking a little bit more college football, Atlanta Braves.
Big
and
comeback.
We've got head coach of the McMinn County Cherokees, Bo Cagle, joining the show at 5:45.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
This is John Davis, the trading man at Kia Cleveland, and that's the sound of progress. We're under construction, and we're hammering out the best deals in the car business. Your price, your trade, and your credit will not be a problem. Bring us any trade in any condition, and we'll give you $7,000 over Kelly Blue Book Fair market value toward the purchase of any new Kia in our giant inventory. Yes, $7,000 more than your trade is worth. Is your credit less than perfect? That's okay. At Kia Cleveland, our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Remember, we'll be any deal from anywhere in Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. So, if you want $7,000 over Kelly Blue Book Fair market value for your trade, come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where trading your car is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Looking for the dealer who's gonna give you more. Kia of Cleveland Superstore.
Offer subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Now at Hardee's, 2 hand-breaded chicken tender wraps are only $5. Mix and match your favorite flavors like buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, and spicy. Endless combinations start with 2 warm tortillas, each filled with 100% white meat, juicy on the inside, crispy on the outside, hand-breaded chicken tenders. Any 2 wraps, now just $5. Hardee's, goodness in the making. These items only. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Visit restaurant for details.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
For a quarter of a century, Mix 1041 has been taking you out to the ball game.
Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Since 2000, Mix 1041 has been the home of the Atlanta Braves, and we're celebrating by giving away tickets to Atlanta Braves games all summer long. Listen for your chance to call or text to qualify. You can also register at the Mix socials on Facebook and Instagram. Braves 25 is presented by Cleveland Ford. Honest people, honest deals.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
So what's the best way to pick a local law firm? Google 5-star reviews, of course. There are some local law firms with a few. There are some, though, that have a few more. Yeah. But if you want the local law firm with the most 5-star reviews, well, that would be Warren & Griffin by a long shot.
I'm Seymour. I'm John Mark. We have more 5-star reviews than any law firm in this area.
Call us at 265-HURT. We are your local law firm.
Want to save on home or auto insurance? Call AAA Pop Insurance Agency at 423-458-1536. AAA, more than just roadside assistance. 423-458-1536. Discounts and savings subject to eligibility requirements. Personal lines insurance is underwritten by Member Select Insurance Company.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. What's your favorite number for quarterback? What's your favorite number?
I'll tell you one that's really popular around here, and it's the number 16 in honor of a certain fella that had a pretty good college and professional career.
Peyton.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, no doubt.
Of course, he wore 18 with the Colts.
I've always kind of liked 13 because of Dan Marino. That seemed like just a quarterback number. I thought that was really cool. But did you hear about the new BYU quarterback, the true freshman we talked about yesterday? Bear Bachmeier, named the first ever true freshman starting quarterback at BYU. Never happened before. He's going to wear number 47. That's like a safety or a linebacker number when I see that.
That's a linebacker fullback number.
Yeah, fullback included.
Like when you said that, I said to myself, "There's no way that
messes with the optics a little bit," which Jacob's already dealing with that one.
Devin Brown at Ohio State, of course, he transferred. He wore number 33. With the Buckeyes, which it was a tribute to what was that quarterback's name that played for Washington back in the day. But anyway, so he wore number 33. Heath Schuler wore 21. Doug Flutie, number 22.
Yeah.
So
Boston College.
It's happened. To me, my favorite jersey number for quarterback is 12. I've just Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw. You had a lot of Joe Namath. He had a lot of great quarterbacks wearing number 12 back in the day. So I've always equated that as my favorite jersey number for quarterbacks.
You like how Jim left off what a lot of people argue to be the greatest quarterback of all time?
I just didn't get to it. I was just rattling off some of the guys back in this early days. But yeah, Tom Brady.
I just had to mess with you a little bit,
Jim.
Jim.
Right. Tom Brady wore 12. I mean,
is this not a fun show anymore? Is this not a fun place?
Yeah, but no, I just talking about some of the older guys, but I don't know. I mean, do you have a favorite number for? Do you like a double digit or a single digit number for a quarterback?
I like double. I'll be honest. For sports in general, I love the number 11. I love saying sticks, like that's a nickname that you get when you wear 11.
Yeah, that's.
But when I think of a quarterback, for some reason, when you immediately said it, no name came to mind. Just the number 14, like the number 14.
14. My favorite all-time quarterback wore 14.
Yeah, so I don't know why there wasn't a name or a face that flashed up. Just 14.
That's unique. Yeah. So
you're not going to ask me who my favorite all-time quarterback is?
I was trying to think who the Bengals quarterback number 14 would have been.
Ken Anderson.
Anderson, okay.
Should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And by the way, that quarterback for TCU, Sammy Ball, played with Washington Redskins wore 33. That's who Devin Brown was trying to honor when he was wearing it.
Yeah, so those teen numbers, I think, is a good, I think of a pocket passer. You got 6'3", 6'4", 220, just solid guy that'll stand in the pocket and just throw a dart. But there was something about the swagger of Michael Vick walking out wearing number 7.
Yeah, 7's a good number.
And when you think of a dual threat quarterback, you ask me what's a good dual threat quarterback number, I think number 7.
So I do too. That's another one that I think of, and it was 7 and 14. Matthew Stafford wore 7 at UGA, I believe, but I just looked it up. Gunnar Stockton wears number 14. So maybe
Is that right?
Maybe subconsciously that's kind of where my head is. I don't know, but yeah. So those two, if there's a single digit, also I kind of like 5. To me, 1 is reserved for the baddest dude on the field. Like
a fast guy.
Yes, to me, and this is kind of how Cleveland does it as well, or used to when I was there. The Davises used to fight over number 1.
Okay.
Who got to wear number 1, and it was kind of like I've earned my time. But like if you're gonna wear 1, or that's kind of how I feel about 0 too. Now that they've added 0,
Agent 0
into the play, you got to be special. You got to be a dog.
Yeah, that's funny because I was like anti-0. That's not enough, but I'm okay with it now. And listen, I'm just glad college basketball finally went to where you could have a 6, 7, 8, 9 digit on your jersey, because college basketball for the longest time you could only wear a digit of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 0.
Same in high school.
Yeah,
Same in high
they
school.
finally eliminated that. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's one of those rules, and the idea behind it was for the officials to easier signaling to the table and stuff, which I get, but
you're not close. You can verbally say
let's have some fun.
Exactly.
Let's have a little fun. That's what we like to do here, right, Jim?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Kind of staying on par with the quarterback conversation. Colts to start Daniel Jones at quarterback, and Anthony Richardson's future seems to be a little bit in question. He was benched last year for Joe Flacco for 2 games, and they decided that was for lack of game preparation. So this might be a wake-up call for him. This might be a relationship that could be mended, excuse me, or it might end.
Yeah, he's on the trade rumors, that's for sure. I've even heard the Raiders kind of throwing his name in the pot. To me, I started having a problem with him last year when he tapped his helmet to come off the field
because he was tired after a run. Here's the thing about guys like this: he wowed them in Indianapolis at the combine because he's got a strong arm, makes all the throws. There's no question about his arm talent. I want to see film on playing games. I want to see that. Joe Milton wows everyone with his workout. Everyone. Jamarcus Russell, a former Raider, wowed you with the workout. Let me see the game tape. Can he read a defense? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. That's one of those conversations I could crash out on about the draft in general. Like, you should not, like, that should not be the main thing that you're looking at. Like, I'm glad that
the combine.
Yes, like you have film on these guys. Like, and really, what's crazy is college football is doing the NFL a favor basically for 3 to 4 years. They're developing kids for free that are coming to you like ready to play, ready to step on a field and play. There's extra development needed, of course, but they're getting really good coaching and extra development. And they completely ignore that side of things and say, hey, while they're in shorts and T-shirts, we're going to judge whether they're a first-round pick or not, whether they can run in a straight line really fast. When do you run in a straight line really fast in football outside of a go route?
And without pads and your full uniform on. Put cleats on, a football uniform on, a helmet, and then work out. Don't do it in shorts and T-shirts.
To answer your question, Jacob, on kickoff coverage, that's a win. But Anthony Richardson, again, not doing too much kickoff coverage. So, for me, it's a little bit of a surprise if the Colts are giving up on him, because this is something that I saw that was kind of caught my attention. Anthony Richardson is younger than Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah, he's young.
Dylan Gabriel. There was a whole list of guys from this rookie class that he's younger than. And to give up on a guy that you went out and got, and a lot of people are thinking that there's some potential that the Colts might be trying to hang out for another Manning quarterback.
Well, there is a Manning that's playing for the Texas Longhorns this year.
It's going to be
and he is the projected number 1 overall draft pick. So, will it be tanking for him? We've heard that. I mean, remember tanking for Tua?
Yeah.
Well,
he's not coming out this year, folks. Arch Manning.
You think he's coming back?
Yeah, his grandfather's already said it. His grandfather said that Arch will not be leaving. And here's the thing. He has the ability to do so. His family's not hurting for money. This is not one of those things where, like, a student athlete leaving his junior year can change his family's trajectory for the rest of their life. He's a kid that I guarantee you
he doesn't need to sell high.
No, Peyton and all these guys are looking at and saying, you get college one time.
Peyton played 4 years at UT.
You get this once, and so I don't think Arch is on the table this year. I
think I kind of lean towards that as well.
I would put a big bet on it. To be honest,
I wonder if it would change though when we don't know who's going to have the number 1 overall pick in the NFL. If
a lottery,
if his dad or his people say, boy, that's a really good franchise. They just happen to have the number 1 pick. Next year, it might be a real clunker of a team. You might want to reevaluate depending on who the franchise is that holds that number 1 overall pick.
Well, here's the thing, though. The Mannings are not very, shy about saying we're not playing there.
That's true. Eli did that with the Chargers.
So,
sure did.
If there's a dumpster fire, there's no sense in, they'll just say we're not going.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe Flacco, who we mentioned, who started in place for those 2 games for the Colts last year over Anthony Richardson, was also named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this week, which I think we all pretty much knew was coming.
Yeah, he's going to be 0-1 after game 1, by the way.
There's trade rumors between the Browns and the Cowboys. They're saying Dak Prescott to the Browns, which would just be wild since you've got.
What about Micah Parsons? They got to get that situation taken care of.
We're going to talk some more NFL later, guys. We got to move on to Braves because we got Coach Cagle joining the show here in just a few. But, man, I tell you what, a lot happening with the Atlanta Braves last night. But real quick, before we get to that, Matt Olson, 746 consecutive games played, passing Pete Rose at 745. And that's the 12th longest in Major League Baseball history. Next up, Nellie Fox, 798. So he's got a while.
Yeah, Nellie Fox, the old Foxer.
That's it. Atlanta did claim Jake Fraley from the Cincinnati Reds off waivers yesterday. Age 30 season, has power, speed, can steal bags, great plate discipline, and a strong arm. And they're kind of testing him out for a platoon role possibly next year.
That's a good pickup by the Braves. I'll tell you. I was shocked to see the Reds let him go, but they did.
Yeah, Chris Sale also nearing a return. He's got one more start, and as long as there's no setbacks, they're going to throw him right back into the rotation. So optimistic there. But we've got to talk about for a second. Actually, Austin Riley worked out yesterday, had some soreness as well. He's being reevaluated today, and as soon as we hear something on that, we'll get that out there as well. But Braves 9-2 in their last 11, and the 2 losses were rough Spencer Strider starts.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it sure is. Of course, last night Braves came from behind to beat the White Sox 11-10, tying the series at a game apiece. The Braves trailed 10-4 after 6 innings and scored 5 runs in the 7th and 2 in the 8th.
Unbelievable. I mean, man, how hard is it to be a White Sox fan? I mean, think about it. You got.
Do they have fans right now?
Well, they do. I mean, the Pope is, right? Isn't he a fan of the
You're right.
You're right. So you got the guy that leads the Catholic churches. But I mean, honestly, they're up 10-4, and it all just fell apart. Fell apart. It was again for the White Sox. Just what a franchise, man.
Bryce Elder struggled 4 2/3. 9 hits, 8 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Dylan Lee came in, ended up getting the win. Iglesias looking like the closer he was a year ago, showing some promise. Some teams probably wondering why they didn't kick the tires on him right now. He just got his 20th save last night. Matt Olson, 4 hits. Ozzie, 3 hits, also 2 RBIs, and Drake Baldwin, 3 RBI. Money Mike Jerks and Profar both stay hot as they each go deep, both with 2-run home runs. Pretty impressive what Money Mike's been able to do. And he sealed the game with an epic diving catch and a very nice smile.
Michael Harris, I've never seen a guy have 2 halves of a season so polar opposite. He couldn't buy a hit, couldn't buy a walk for the longest time. Now this guy, you can't get him out.
Guess who worked with him? Guess who worked with him?
Chipper
Jones.
Well, there you go. Next manager of the Atlanta Braves? Question mark?
I wish. I don't think he'll do it, but I wish.
Yeah. Well, that's the conversation we might be having here over the offseason. The Braves tonight do look to take the series in the rubber match against the Chi Sox, who are 45-81, last in the AL Central, just struggling along. Need them to continue to tank in these games like they did last night so the Braves can maybe work their way back into the conversation. I'm not saying into the mix, into the conversation. First pitch, 7:15 on Mix 104.1 and ESPN Cleveland 101.3, and coverage presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. And shout out to Mayfield, our sponsors for all things Atlanta Braves. With that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, McMinn County head football coach Bo Cagle.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardee's smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardee's, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Don't miss the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekday afternoons from 2 until 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Always topical, always entertaining. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees.
Come to Don Ledford Chevrolet in Cleveland, where they're celebrating the Labor Day holiday all month long during their annual Sizzling Upgrade event. You'll get tremendous discounts and factor rebates on their entire inventory of Chevrolet pickups and SUVs. You can buy stock number 250764, a 2025 Chevrolet Blazer EV 2RS model at MSRP of $59,225 for just $45,940. That's $13,285 in savings, or 22% off on a new EV that gets over 300 miles on a single charge. Or take home stock number 250058. A 2025 Silverado 1500 LT 4x4 Crew Cab with the All-Star and Z71 packages. MSRP $63,720 for just $53,105. That's over $10,600 in savings. Special leasing options available as well. So come in today and save big at Don Ledford Chevrolet, Northley Highway, Cleveland, or donledford.com for details and a trade assistance coupon. Don Ledford Chevrolet, where they say yes. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Wholesale prices include qualifying rebates, center plus tax, tag, and title and dealer fee. $649. Must take delivery by September 1st, 2025. City School Magazine 2025 High School Football Collectors Edition. Your inside look at 41 teams. Team profiles, coaches' comments, stats, schedules, rosters, and game day pictures. See legendary teams, football fanatic families, and a lot more. Look for the Golden Football. Win $500 for your school. $500 for your school. Purchase a copy from your school booster clubs. All proceeds go to schools. City School Magazine, High School Football Collectors Edition. Don't miss it. Help support your school.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Cleveland Tire Center for over 45 years with the best name in tires: Bridgestone, Firestone, Goodyear, and Michelin. Northley Highway, Cleveland. Cleveland Tire Center, where the name says it all.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Discover your new favorite sweet treat, the Mayfield Dairy Ice Cream Bar, now available in 4 delicious flavors: chocolate chip cookie dough, chocolate fudge brownie, caramel waffle cone, and cherry fudge chunk. Learn more at MayfieldDairy.com. Of course, Mayfield Dairy, big-time supporters here on the Drive of the Atlanta Braves, but also today going to be the McMinn County Cherokees, because we're joined by the head football coach of the Cherokees, Bo Cagle. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing awesome. First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time out. I know you guys have been out there practicing, getting ready. Got a big game coming up on Black Friday, as they like to call it. So definitely glad to have you on the show with us today.
Yeah, that's a good name for it, Black Friday. Both of our teams the same, but we like that too. We're excited about playing Bradley this week.
Yeah, Coach, if you could just kind of talk about what your offseason has looked like leading into this week, where starting right out of the gate with the second longest rivalry in the state of Tennessee, McMinn and Bradley.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of like the Daytona 500 starting the year out. You know, you always have something to look forward to when you start the year off with a rival like Bradley. You know, our off season, we've got a whole bunch of upperclassmen on the team this year, and they know the routine and know how we do things. Obviously, we stay in the weight room and just to prepare ourselves for the year. So those guys have really done a good job in there. And then, you know, just getting focused on trying to figure out who we are, what kind of team we're going to be. You know, we're always going to go into the year just thinking physical football, run the ball downhill, and figure out how to do that in the best way possible and play good defense. But, you know, we don't know where we're at right now. You know, it's always – everything's kind of up in the air that first game. We think we've got an idea, but you just never know till you run out there on the grass and see what happens.
Coach, it's Jacob Mason. One of the things we love to do on the show is kind of give a player spotlight and allow coaches to kind of talk about your team. Derek Vestal is a good buddy of mine, and I texted him this morning and said, hey, who are some dogs on y'all's team? And he talked about Camden Goforth, Peanut Dyer, Nathan Keisler, Luke Lawson, Jack Gooden, Javon Parker. Kind of talk about your leadership and just some dudes that are going to go make plays for you this year.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some good ones, but, man, we're just, you know, it's really we've got a bunch of guys that are really good teammates, and those guys are probably the level that we want them all to be at. They want everybody to succeed and everybody to do well, and they're willing to sacrifice their own personal stats and glory for the team. And those are things that, I'm just glad he mentioned most of those guys are those guys. You know, they're who we look up to, who we want to be. They're all seniors. They've been in the program for a long time. And, you know, they can play football too. You know, some of them are gifted, more talented, by, you know, gifts from God that have been given to them. Other of them just have to work, you know. And I'll say it all the time is our kids, we win with those kids that aren't the best athletes. They're not the best players. They shouldn't really be out there. But they play better than who they really are. And those are the kids we win with. We've got a lot of those this year.
Coach, I mean, in a perfect world, you'd be opening up against a lesser opponent than you are against Bradley. Of course, you guys have knocked heads for a long time. How have you guys performed in the scrimmages that you've been able to get in, I guess, in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the way I look at those scrimmages is we want as much adversity to happen in those. We want bad things to happen, and just to see where we are. And really, in the game Friday night, we want Bradley to play their best football and expose us every way possible so that we can improve and get better throughout the year. And that's what's happened. You know, we came out against Boyd, and we probably didn't live up to the expectations that we thought we had for ourselves against those guys. That's a good football team. Then we played Meggs the next week, and it was kind of a battle. And then, you know, we got down really deep against Tyner. But the guys just, you know, they hung in there and came back and played really hard. We played good on defense and good on offense, too, for the second half of that scrimmage, and where we could have just folded up the tent and went home. And that's what we want to see. We want to see bad things happen early in the year, early in the preseason, just to see bad things happen, put us in adverse situations, see how we respond, and then expose our weaknesses so that we know what to get better at. And that's what that's really, when we go into Friday night, we've talked about that all week. We want bad things to happen so we can get better throughout the year.
Interesting.
Coach, going off of that, obviously you're in the same region as Walker Valley, so those region games hold a little bit more value to them. But how important is this game to your team and your coaching staff?
Well, I mean, it's Bradley, you know, and and we've got a couple of us that played against them. And I remind our kids, we've been playing football at McMinn County since 1927, and every single person that has ever put on the black and gold at McMinn played against Bradley. Every person that walks into the game, they can say, I played against them in whatever year it was, and they can relate to that. So our community really supports this game, wants us to win this game. It is very important for our community for us to do that. What's important to us, though, is to make sure that we improve and get better and play to our standards. And our standards don't mean we're not going to make mistakes and bad things aren't going to happen, but we're going to play fast and physical and play hard. But the two things I tell them before every game is play as hard as you possibly can when you get an opportunity to do that, and be a great teammate. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you've got to worry about. And you can do one. You can do both of them or one of them. If you don't get to play, you can be a great teammate. And all of them can do that. If we'll do that in the game, then I'll count that as a success every time.
Coach, I want to kind of go back to what Jacob alluded to a second ago with some individuals. One name that I recognize, who great young man, one heck of an athlete, but Marshall Goodner. Talk about a guy who's with this rivalry. His dad was a gamer back for the Bears back in the day. One heck of a football player. If you could talk about Marshall for a second.
Yeah, it's funny. That's the second Goodner we've had come through here. So we've already gone through it once with his family. You know, part of those guys being from Bradley. Marshall's a great athlete. You know, he's going to help us all over the field. You know, just improving. You know, as a sophomore last year, just had a great opening season, really. Hadn't played a whole lot of football up to that point. But the guy can catch the ball. He runs just great routes. He's a competitor. You'll see him on both sides of the ball, and then also returning kicks and punts for us too. So we just, you know, we try to use those guys as much as we possibly can, and he's one of the guys that has to be able to play on both sides.
Coach, when I think about a college frame, I don't think 6'4", 330 could get any better. Talk about Camden Goforth. Have you had some visitors at your practice over the summer?
Well, you know, we had them early and we had them in the spring, and then early. But you know, when he had that commitment to West Virginia, everything's just kind of settled down. I think that's what he wanted. You know, I think he wanted all the noise to be out so he can come out and have a great senior season. Guys, and you guys know, number one, he's got the intangibles. Yeah, he's 6'4", he's 330 pounds. But the difference, I tell people if they ask me about him, and you know, I don't get asked a lot because you can see it on film, is he's nasty. He plays hard all the time. He finishes blocks. It's things that big kids a lot of times they don't do, but he does it. He'll finish blocks. He'll block you all the way down the field. I'm telling you, if he gets on you, you might just want to fall down because he's going to drive you all the way up into the stands if he can. I mean, that's the type of kid he is. But he's a great kid. You know, and I say he's nasty. I mean, he's a great kid. You see him in the hallway at school, anywhere else. But when the lights turn on Friday night, it becomes a different animal, and he does his job to the perfection of what we ask, and we want everybody playing as hard as him. And I think most of our kids play just like Camden Goforth does, but Camden Goforth is 6'4", 330, and it makes it look totally different.
Interesting. So he's not. He's a guy that could be a handful for Bradley all night. It sounds like. Let me ask you something.
He's not the guy that's going to feel sorry for you just because he's bigger and stronger than you. I mean, you know, we're not going to tell him any different.
Once again, we're joined by the McMinn County Cherokees head football coach, Bo Cagle.
Coach, who's the offensive guy that we need to be watching for? Tell us one guy that when the ball's in his hands, watch out.
Well, I mean, right now it's Luke Lawson, and our quarterback. I think he's had a great preseason leading up to his junior year. You know, he came in as a starter last year, not playing much football as a sophomore. He's got people around him, and if our offensive line can give him a little time, he is savvy in the pocket. He doesn't get flustered. He will throw interceptions, and it doesn't slow him down. So you talk about a gunslinger that doesn't really get down on himself. He's confident in what he does. And then we've got some receivers out there that just do a good job. You know, they do a good job of finding him, getting open. They run some good routes. And the best thing about that is, if you want to drop everybody, Peanut Dyer's sitting back there, and he's the fastest guy on the team. He's just about 5'7", but he's about 200 pounds and squats 600, and he can run. So he's like tackling a fire hydrant. So you got some options back there, but I think Luke with the ball in his hands is going to be the guy that you want to look at. Of course, he's the quarterback, so you'll see him every time. And like I said, he's not going to do everything right. He's going to make mistakes, but the whole deal is, and we talk about it all the time, is how do you respond to the mistakes that you make? And Luke responds well. You know, he keeps playing. He keeps doing what we're asking him to do, and he doesn't get scared and frightened. He just keeps playing.
Coach Cagle, great stuff, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to join the show today. And we definitely would love to have you back on again sometime.
Absolutely, guys. A lot of fun. Thank you for doing this. And I know a lot of people like listening to it, and I support you guys as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Cagle.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Good luck. Good luck Friday. Of course, McMinn.
Okay, thanks.
McMinn on the road at Bear Stadium taking on the Bradley Central Bears. Man, this is going to be a fun matchup Friday night. Black Friday, as a lot of us like to call it.
You got to watch Goforth now, right? I mean, just to see just how nasty he is. Listen, when someone's that big and they're nasty, I pity the fool that's got
and our guy, the fire hydrant. Love it, man.
He dropped about 3 one-liners that are going to be a part of my vocabulary now. He's like tackling a fire hydrant. That's
good.
That's great. I mean, he that was a great interview.
It was. It was fun.
Something that we take pride in here at the station is we want to give these kids a spotlight. We want to allow coaches to come on here and talk about them, because at the end of the day, the Friday nights are fun for us, but they're about them.
Yeah, and again, tomorrow it's Bradley Day. Head coach Damon Floyd will join the drive around 5:35, 5:40, same time slot. Excited to talk to him and get his insight from the Bear perspective on this matchup that's taking place over there at Bear Stadium on Friday.
Well, I have a sneaky suspicion he might actually be there. We'll just see, though.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hey, with that great show today, covered a lot of stuff, squeezed it in. Now, next up, Finish Line Radio for all that NASCAR information you've been waiting to hear. They've got you covered. For Jacob, Jim, and Andy, myself, I'm Andy. Have a great day, everybody.